What's the truth about women in Star Wars? Hello there, and welcome to today's video, where I'd like to discuss the rather polarizing topic of women in Star Wars. Why it's seemingly become the forefront of the culture wars discussion, how this topic became so prominent, and perhaps most importantly, why it's been misrepresented by the fans, the media, and the executives over at Disney. So, without any further ado, let's dive right in, beginning with why this topic is even a talking point to begin with. Now, with a conversation as long-standing and as wide-ranging as this one, it can be quite difficult to know where to start. Do you go all the way back to the beginning of Disney's acquisition of Lucasfilm and kind of look at how each decision they made and how all of these decisions eventually snowballed? Do you examine the movies and shows they've put out in order to analyze what customers were actually consuming and, how that influenced the conversation? While both routes are interesting and would probably provide us with a lot to chew on, thankfully, or not, depending on your viewpoint, recently Variety has provided us with two articles that not only reignited this conversation, but also gave us an incredibly clear view into the current mindset of Disney executives. The first article was published on August 6th, 2025, and detailed Bob Iger's quotes during Disney's earnings call, where he established that Disney is looking to develop more original IPs, saying the following: "The more we can find and develop original property, the better," Iger continued. Of course, we are developing original property under the 20th Century banner and under the Searchlight banner. And look, you could even argue that Marvel continues to mine its library of characters for original property. Even though, for instance, there have been Fantastic Four movies before, we kind of consider the one we did an original property in many respects, because we're introducing those characters to people who are not familiar with them at all. Now, this is a very corporate answer, something Bob Iger has been very good at dishing out over the years, but ultimately, it tells us nothing of substance on its own. Disney wants to create more original IPs, and, there's a bit of lying and fudging over the Fantastic Four first steps being an original IP, just to please the shareholders, you understand. Of far more interest, especially when put together with this first Variety article, is the one published on August 25th, 2025, which details Disney's big push for a male audience. Here's the exact quotes from the article. "Leadership at Walt Disney Studios has been pressing Hollywood creatives in recent months, multiple sources tell Variety, for movies that will bring young men back to the brand in a meaningful way. Young men is defined here by sources as ages 13 to 28, aka Gen Z. Every film studio is looking for better ways to convert young audiences into habitual moviegoers. Numerous studies show that Gen Z men in particular are a lonely, gaming-obsessed group who were hampered in their formative years by COVID-19 lockdowns. Not the easiest segment to grasp. But what's surprising producers, writers, and other partners in the larger industry is that Disney has been calling for original concepts to lure the demo back to the movies." Now, before I go any further, I'd like to just voice my utter disgust at how the author Matt Donnelly describes Gen Z men as lonely, gaming-obsessed, and hampered in their formative years by COVID-19. It's emblematic of pressing issues facing modern media, namely their inability to talk about men in anything other than a derogatory light, and it just highlights exactly why big corporations like Disney have seen such a massive drop-off in male consumers. But, putting those issues to the side, when both these articles are taken together, we can see that Disney is essentially looking to create new and original IPs in order to pull in a young male audience. And that is actually laughable. Not because it's an inherently flawed strategy, but because that's exactly why Disney purchased the Marvel and Star Wars IPs in the first place. This next quote was taken from a Deadline article posted on August 31st, 2009. Bob Iger on CNBC. "We'd love to attract more boys, and we think Marvel's skew is more in a boys' direction. Although there's a universal appeal, we think, to a lot of their characters and a lot of their story. Just look at Spider-Man and Iron Man films. This is a great fit, but we obviously know Disney has a lot of products that are more girl-skewed than boy, and we'd like the opportunity to go after boys more aggressively." Now, this quote obviously focuses on Disney's acquisition of Marvel, but you can be damn sure the same thinking went into their $4 billion purchase of Lucasfilm. But, I mean, if Disney bought Star Wars to appeal to more young men, why would they now need to create new IP in order to attract a male audience? Simple. Kathleen Kennedy pushed very hard for Star Wars to be geared more towards women. Now, this was all happening during the rumblings of the #MeToo movement, and at a time where the culture wars was really reaching its boiling point. Representation was key, and studios like Disney were searching for that ever-elusive modern audience. Kathleen Kennedy wanted Rey to be Star Wars' first feminist icon, and so she did everything in her power to make that happen. The problem is twofold, however. First, she put that message above all else, which led to vapid, message-driven scripts which failed to resonate with audiences. Second, it's an attempt to erase the history of strong female characters who have been present in Star Wars since its inception. Because here's the thing, Disney didn't need to reinvent Star Wars to find strong female representation. Women have been central to the galaxy far, far away since the very beginning. The tragedy is that instead of embracing this legacy, Disney often acts as if they're the first to put women front and center. You know what? I'm going to say it again. Star Wars always had strong female characters, so Disney's little narrative of introducing female strength is revisionist. And this can be shown through an examination of Princess Leia in the original trilogy and Padmé Amidala in the prequels. Princess Leia holds a position of leadership and authority throughout the original trilogy, first as a senator secretly assisting the Rebel Alliance, before becoming a rebellion general in open defiance of a tyrannical empire. I mean, she commands respect from those in the Rebel Alliance and plays a key strategic role in the fight against the Empire. And because of this role, she's never sidelined in favor of Han and Luke, instead standing alongside them in all of their most arduous battles. She's witty, defiant, and unafraid to challenge those around her, like Han or Luke.
Short for a stormtrooper?
Or even lie directly to Darth Vader, in a move that he absolutely knows is a lie.
I want to know what happened to the plans they sent you.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm a member of the Imperial Senate on a diplomatic mission to Alderaan.
You are part of the Rebel Alliance and a traitor. Take it away!
I mean, even her romance with Han adds to her character, rather than reducing her story and agency to just another romance cliche. Carrie Fisher's performance as Leia not only cemented her as one of cinema's first mainstream action heroines, along with characters like Sarah Connor and Ripley, but her cultural impact also helped lay the groundwork for strong female leads in action blockbusters later down the line. Likewise, Padmé Amidala, despite, being part of an aspect of the franchise seen as being less well received than the original trilogy, was shown as the queen of an entire planet at the age of 14, before going on to become a galactic senator, making her a driving force of galactic politics, arguably more so than any Jedi could ever hope to be. In fact, an argument could be made that had the Jedi just relied on her as a senator they could trust, rather than, focusing all in on fighting the Sith the way they had for thousands of years, the Jedi, with Padmé as their political spearhead, probably could have prevented the rise of the Empire entirely. Padmé's strength differentiates itself from Leia's, as Leia's focus was on kind of battlefield leadership, while Padmé was able to really display her idealism, her negotiation skills, and her strong stance against corruption. It shows how Star Wars allowed its female characters to display power beyond a simple, one-dimensional view of, well, she's kicking a lot of ass. And sure, people criticize Padmé's death, and rightfully so. But her role in the saga is pivotal, as she represents, in a microcosm, the Republic's downfall and Anakin's slipping humanity. There's also the thematic through-line of Padmé being what Leia would be like if she existed during a more peaceful time, while Leia shows what Padmé would have been like if she was forced into a far more black and white war than the one she was caught up in. It not only draws a through line between mother and daughter thematically, but also shows how Star Wars offered varied depictions of powerful women since its inception, showing that a woman didn't have to be a Jedi or a Sith to matter in the galaxy far, far away. These kinds of nuances are even more egregious when you compare George Lucas's ideas of strong female characters to Disney's, where instead of building fleshed out and flawed human beings, Disney distills their characters into a caricature, believing that strong means flawless, as seen with Rey. Strong female characters aren't new in the Disney era. They were foundational to George Lucas's original creation, and Disney's revisionist marketing only serves to erase decades of rich and real female representation throughout the franchise. And it gets even worse when you begin to look at more of the supplementary material, where you find characters like Ahsoka Tano, Mara Jade, Darth Xana, and Asajj Ventress. And all of that without getting into women like Gloria Katz, a screenwriter who helped improve the dialogue of A New Hope. Marcia Lucas, responsible for making the original trilogy what it is thanks to her edits. Leia Beckett, who helped write The Empire Strikes Back, and many more women who played vital roles in the production and creation of Star Wars. Ultimately, Disney is having to scratch their heads in search of new and original IPs to bring a target audience that they spent an exorbitant amount of money to bring in the first place back. But mismanagement and identity politics in service of a non-existent modern audience led to Disney burning those IPs to the ground for no other reason than hubris. And I don't think anything sums that up better than this statement from a top Disney executive.
I never thought I'd say it, the exec muses about the Magic Kingdom's boy troubles, despite its gem box of iconic IP. But it looks like Disney's going to have to start trying.
Thank you for watching, guys. It's really frustrating to still be seeing articles like this come out. I mean, I know Variety's reputation has tanked over the last couple of years. But I mean, like, it's still pathetic that this is how their authors address the audience they're trying to pull in. It's pathetic that Disney's now doing a turnabout, and instead of, going, oh, I need to fix what I've broken, they're going, throw it in the trash, we'll fucking just do something completely different. It's just incredibly anger-inducing. But regardless, thank you for watching this video. Do let me know what you think. Does Disney need to, come up with more original IP? Can Star Wars be saved? I don't know. Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you for watching.